Hello everybody, and welcome back to another fig review. Woo! So today I have this really big Kotobukiya Li Syaoran figure. So I'm really excited. We're gonna take this, make it be a chill little unboxing because this is a used or already pre-owned box. So we're gonna open it up and see what he's all about and take a look. We'll go ahead. We will start with looking at the box. So here is the front. You can see that mine is pre-owned because there is some like white marking on the edge from age, as well as like just some dents on the box. It's still overall kept in really good shape for that being a really pretty box with all the ornate details on the side. Here is another side with a window and some tape on the inside. Again, this is pre-owned. And this is an older figure too, so if there wasn't any wear and tear, I would be a little bit surprised. There's that. I really like this art. I just love that clamp art so much. It's so nice, so detailed. I love all the white dots that they add in. Looks really cool. And then here is the top, and here is the bottom. Pretty normal top and bottom kind of stuff, but either way, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. So open it from the top. He's really big. It's actually kind of hard to open him up with the small space I'm working with. Okay, set him to the side and knock over some stuff. So there are some basic instructions for setting him up on the peg. So it's nice that they included this since they did repackage him. It looks like pretty correctly, if that makes sense, like to the original packaging. He has kind of like a grandma print inside. It's not ugly, but I'm not in love with the colors. You can see it's like this brown beige color with like a pale brown like inside. Not the best, but you know, it's just something plain for him since it's still card captor. They probably wanted to do a floral design, but not make it too girly, you know. Ooh, I'll put it to the side. The bigger boxes are definitely hard to do, but I wanted to do this for a used figure since there's probably already nicer videos out there, so I just felt like this is just something chill, something different. Okay, so there's the shell. So we, you know, it's again pretty standard. We got the front and the back. They did retape it with blue tape, so not super fancy, but again, this is pre-owned. So there's that. And then, of course, the base on the bottom, figure, his sword that he's going to have in his hand, which we're going to work through. So let's reopen it. I really like, though, it looks like the person who had this took really good care of the figure before me. So that's always really nice to see, especially too because they repackaged it really safely. The person I bought this from was really sweet too. It was on my figure collection. I happened to get an alert and this was at a really good price because this figure can get expensive, but I think I got this though for $180, which is pretty good. I've seen him get up to over 200, sometimes 300. So maybe it's just less popular now, but I definitely was excited because I've wanted this figure for a while. He's one of my favorite characters. It's been a while since I've read Card Captor or watched it, but tape. Tape. So we're gonna grab his base. He's got a couple pieces, it looks like. So here's the first piece. Nice, kind of sturdier plastic. You can see it's not like hollow. It feels dense like all the way through, so that's nice. Because I got mine used, you can see there is a bit of marking on the side there. That's not very fun, but I think it looks like this piece inserts into the larger base, so I'm not actually too worried about that since it looks like the main ornate pieces are okay. There's a little mark here, but that's teeny tiny, so not too concerned. Yep. You see they even kept the plastic stuff to keep it protected. The main base. Ooh, I forget what this was called, but this had something to do with his magic powers. But this was his symbol that showed up whenever he would do his magic. So this is a really cool base. It could have been cool if it had colors on it, because I do believe these had colors at least. But the gold is still really nice. And again, this is hollow inside, but this is pretty thick still. It's got a decent bit of weight, so nice. Very nice. So this is the bottom, this piece here, and then you want the nice part facing, I would believe, outwards, so. Maybe not? Oh, okay. No, you have it facing forward. It went in much easier that way. This feels, no, I feel like it's supposed to go the other way, because you're never going to see it like that. There we go. Yeah. So this is how it goes. Made a nice snap too. I don't know if you guys heard that. Very cool. But yeah, because every now and then you might see the back of the figure, so usually you want the ornate piece standing up like that. Ooh, fancy, fancy. I really like the way this face looks still. I love the gold that they used. So let's go ahead though, and I think we're gonna get him ready. Let's see, it looks like they didn't wrap him up in anything, but they did keep, again, the plastic poly wrap pieces. Very cool. The sword. Ooh. First of all, great color. Even though it's simple, I like the green and the orange, the different use of the shiny green to the matte green, just to kind of make them look like the different textures, because this would be fabric, this would be a bead. Of course, because it's clamp, they always had really intricate designs, so we've got like the knot in the string, as well as his symbol here. Yeah, the other side, it's definitely a little less interesting, but it's still fine. You know, it's the other side, the side you won't really see. The blade, also fine, nothing crazy. Once again, there are some really small marks that the seller was upfront about, and these are kind of things where I really don't care much about this. You could honestly get a mark like this straight from the original manufacturer, so I really never care too much about that. But this does detach. Ooh, ooh, wow. And go into his hand. Let's go ahead, before I reattach this though, let's get him on the base. On the base. Okay, it's pretty easy to see where he's supposed to go on his base. I really don't like, this is actually something unique that I've seen. I don't like how his pegs are like, this one's on his foot, which is totally normal, but this one's on his leg. I guess with the way he's posed, he's not really like anchoring his foot onto the base, but that's kind of weird looking. Either way, he goes top foot on the top, peg on this kind of side one, just like that. This is really cool. I like this a lot. And now that we have him on his base, I think this goes like this. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Put like that. Put like this. Very easy. All right. I'm going to reposition so that way we can actually look at him a little bit better. Now, because this is an older figure, one thing I'm already noticing, I do think that it feels a little loose, some of the joints on both the base and on the sword. His hand, if you notice, this can move a lot. And I did notice earlier that the actual leg of the base does have a little bit of movement, which isn't fantastic. But again, this is older. We mentioned earlier, this is almost 10 years old. Anyways, that actually positioned him like really well. What the heck? Am I professional or something? That's great. There he is though, out of the box and fully posed. He is a fantastic figure. I'm really excited. This is gonna be one of the bigger figures that I have. This might technically be like the second biggest figure I have in general. Well, no, I don't think it's second biggest because my gorillas ones are pretty big. Biggest is my ladybug. This is definitely at least top 10 though. So I'm really excited though. Like Li Syaoran, he's been one of my favorite again characters for a while, just because I like that he was a tsundere boy. I love characters that you can really see developing the whole story. I don't really have a character type. As long as they're developing and changing to the story, I usually like them. As long as they weren't just a total jerk at the beginning. And he was just like he was kind of a jerk at the beginning, but he was like not a jerk, he had a reason to be. But anyways, let's try and take a closer look at the details on this as best as we can, because he is kind of big. And use the power of zoom. Ooh. Off the bat, his fantastic face. I love it. First of all, the hair is awesome. Look at all the like just poofy lines and shape that they were able to give to his hair. And I love whenever there's a figure and there's all these wild pieces to the side. I absolutely love that because it's just so good at showing motion. His face, the eyes, they have so many details and little lines in them. I really, really like that a lot, actually. And then he's got his little angry eyebrows. Yippee! And his teeny tiny mouth and a teeny tiny nose to match with the clamp style. His big old green, kind of goofy hat, but it's a look. He's working it. He is. But even though it is overall technically maybe a simple design because of just like the bold green, the bold orange, the bold yellow, only with maybe like the black and some like silver details on these corners. The actual paint is still painted really, really well. You can see that there is shading to the green especially. It does get darker in these pockets here, and they did do like some darker colors on the corners. There is very light, but there is some yellow touches on the sides here. But still, very nice. Very clean too. The paint held up really well. I think because it is old, you guys might not be able to see it. Try and zoom in. I don't know if you'll be able to see. A little bit. The older the paint is, the more you can see like some of this kind of dotty texture. It's not the weird texture, which is showing up quite a bit on camera. I can't even really see it in person. But you see how the paint kind of looks almost kind of speckled? Or like it's got divots? It's kind of hard to explain, but because the paint is old, you can see that the different colors do start to separate a little bit over time. And that's definitely happening with this. It's not bad. It's really not. Like, I've seen figures that have had it much worse, but it is definitely noticeable on this big area of green that it is starting to kind of just separate just a little bit. But I love Kotobukiya, and this is just cementing the fact that I love Kotobukiya because this is still a really great figure. I like that you can see his shirt underneath, his white undershirt, with the details of the knots that are tying his collar together. You can see it peeking out just a little bit underneath here too, so there's more than one. I love little small details like that are just barely hidden. That's one of my favorite things. Big old sleeves. Let's zoom out for these big old sleeves, actually. He's got huge sleeves. Huge sleeves. They tend to look goofy on other figures as well because it's kind of hard to kind of, I guess, get these to look not weird once you get to the inside portions. But they did a lot of really great movement with this. Like, just look how much those things are moving, bro. And they're there are little bells on top. Little bells. I wish they were real bells, but of course they wouldn't do real bells. This is another area right here where you can see that what I was talking about with the paint. I just wish my camera would pick it up automatically, but you can see that yellow kind of popping through. Again, it probably also is from something touching this part of the figure. It'll lift parts of the paint, but not all of it. But because there's multiple colors put in here, because this again is shaded very, very nicely, it'll separate a little bit easier. I'm not really sure how else to explain it. The back of his outfit with all the nice folds. The movement on this figure is just, ooh, it is so good. So good. The long tassel, is that the right word for the front? I think there's another word for this. But big long thing. The details on this part aren't quite as nice as the rest. You can see over here that the paint did go outside the lines quite a bit with especially the orange pieces. It's gone over the line here, right here it's gone over the line, and it's gone under the line here on these triangles. There's a little bit of black mispaint on this part of the yin yang symbol. Same with the white, but it's a little less noticeable on the white piece. And I do think this part in particular, because if you notice it matches the top headpiece, I think this fades away quite a bit more than the rest of the similar designs. So very small, but again, it happens. I want to emphasize though once more, the actual shading on this is fantastic, because the yellow in the green here that then mixes with like the darker parts from the folds, or just, they were done so well. Like, it's really shaded so nicely. He also has another little bell right here. Bing, 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 bing. Little bell. Bing, 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 bing. He's got white pants shaded with a kind of blue gray. Not a lot of blue though, just a touch, so it's not a flat gray, which is just the perfect amount. Let's see. I love puffy pants. Who doesn't love a good puffy pant? This peg is so weird. Boink. His little flats. There we go. Nice, simple green. Still a little bit of shading on the deeper parts as well, so very nice. There is some paint that's missing, but I think this is the part of the foot that touches the base for a long time, so as the figure starts to weigh down a little bit, it's going to end up rubbing into the base some. Or maybe just anything else in general, because it is a point, and points tend to take the most damage, whether it's just moving from place to place or from maybe happening to be too close to something else. So I like there's wrinkles on this shoe too. That's going to be kind of hard to see, but he's got little wrinkles on that shoe. I like that a lot, actually. Again, the movement on this figure is really nice. His hands, nice and outspread. He doesn't have any extra colors on his skin. It actually looks relatively flat. Maybe a little bit inside the actual palm of his hand. There's a little, I think a small amount of shading maybe on the palm of his hand. It could just be because that's a denser area of plastic that I'm thinking that there is, but there isn't. Something else I wanted to point out though, I noticed while looking at his hand, you can see his white undershirt peeking out again, as well as the little knots again. So I really like that. It's on this arm a little bit more noticeable, but once more, I love those little itty bitty details. But that's Li Syaoran. We're gonna put him back on his base, and then we're gonna wrap up the video. All right, so that is gonna wrap up the Kotobukiya Li Syaoran figure. I really enjoyed this figure a lot. Clearly, there's a reason why I've wanted this figure for so long, because I just love the overall shape, and I love the motion. I love the base. It's a standout piece, which has always just made me really excited. So I'm really glad to finally have it. I'm gonna have to figure out where to put this because my shelves are a little bit crowded, especially my shelf that is all the figures I've gotten since I've moved in to the current house that we're at. So I'll have to figure that out some other time, but I'll find a spot for him. I maybe have room in the bedroom at least. But yeah, the paint was absolutely fantastic. The person who had this before clearly took a lot of care of this figure. I didn't see any like major issues. Obviously there was some small marks like on the shoe, on the sword, Everything was so small though. I do think while the paint was fantastic in some areas, there was some areas where it was maybe missing just a little bit of something to kind of, I guess, make it pop more. Maybe like some of the yellows could have had some more shading. Clearly they did it inside the arm big pockets, but I think they could have even maybe done it on the sleeves just to add a little bit of extra dimension to the yellow parts, especially since the green is so well painted. The orange is small, you don't want to mess with the orange, but I do think some of the bigger, wider yellow pieces on the outside definitely could have used some shading because it doesn't look like there was really any on those parts, only on the inside and a little bit on his belt. But still, that's not a lot. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have pictures that I'm gonna post for him on my Instagram. That is at Desunasis. I also have all my other pictures of figures that I have uploaded on there as well that you can check out. And there's stuff and things. But if you like getting updates or just like chatting and hanging out, I also have a Discord that is linked down below where it's a little bit more silly, goofy, funny, typically, question mark. I'm pretty responsive though. And there's all these other places you can follow me that are also listed down the bottom. And I think that's it. I hope you guys had a great last week. And I hope you guys have a great next week. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.